Brainrot C.
I was halfway home when I saw the sign. Last stop gas, 24 hours open. I almost drove past it. I didn't really need to stop, but something about the place caught my eye. It was a small gas station, the kind you only find on lonely back roads. One pump, a dimly lit store, no cars. I glanced at my gas meter, half a tank, enough to get home, but I had a weird feeling, like I should stop. So I did. I pulled in, the gravel crunching under my tires. The air felt too still. No wind, no sounds, just the buzzing of the flickering fluorescent light above the store entrance. I stepped out of the car and stretched, rolling my shoulders. The place looked old, like it had been there for decades. The paint on the walls was peeling, the windows slightly yellowed. I walked toward the pump, reaching for the nozzle, but the screen was already on. It shouldn't have been. These kinds of old gas stations usually required you to prepay inside before the pump even worked. But as soon as I picked up the nozzle, the numbers on the screen reset to $0.00, like it was waiting for me. That was my first warning. I ignored it. I started pumping gas, watching the numbers climb. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone inside the store, a man, standing behind the counter. He was facing the door, completely still, like he was watching me. I waved. He didn't wave back. Something about him felt off. His face was too blank, his eyes too dark. I looked away, pretending not to notice, just focused on the gas pump. When it clicked, signaling it was done, I quickly put the nozzle back and reached for my wallet. I hesitated. Should I go inside? I didn't actually know if the pump had charged my card or if I needed to pay. I glanced back at the store. The man was still standing there, still watching me. My stomach twisted. I could just leave, get in my car, drive off. But what if I was supposed to pay inside? What if I just drove away and they thought I was stealing? I sighed, shaking off the nerves. Just go in, pay, and leave. I walked toward the door, pushing it open. A small bell jingled overhead. The store smelled like old wood and stale coffee. The shelves were stocked with dust-covered snacks and faded soda bottles. And the man behind the counter? He hadn't moved. He just stood there, silent, staring. His skin looked wrong up close, too pale, too stretched, like something wearing a mask. I forced a smile. Hey, did the pump charge my card or do I need to pay inside? He didn't answer, didn't blink, just stared. The air felt too heavy. Something in my brain screamed at me to leave. I took a small step back. Then he moved. Not a normal movement. His neck snapped sideways, like a puppet with its strings cut. And then, in a voice that sounded too hollow, too empty, he whispered, "You shouldn't have stopped." My blood ran cold. I stepped back toward the door, my heart pounding. "What?" I asked, barely above a whisper. He didn't respond, just tilted his head, slowly, like he was studying me. I swallowed hard, forcing a nervous laugh. "Look, man, if there's a problem, The lights flickered, not a normal flicker. Everything went dark, just for a second. And in that second, he was suddenly closer, right in front of the counter now. I gasped, stumbling back into a shelf of dusty chip bags. They crunched beneath my weight, but I barely heard it over the sound of my own heartbeat. The lights flickered again, and this time, he was behind me. I felt it before I saw it. The weight of something standing too close. The sound of breathing that wasn't mine. I didn't turn around. I didn't want to. I bolted, rushed toward the door so fast I nearly slipped on the grimy tile. I slammed into it, pushing, but it didn't budge. Locked. My chest heaved. I pounded on the glass. Hey, let me out. No response. No sound at all. Like the store itself was holding its breath. Then, the lights flickered one last time. And when they came back on, I was alone. The man was gone. The counter was empty. The aisles were empty. Even the sound of breathing was gone. I spun around, scanning the store. Every shelf, every corner. Nothing. But something was wrong. The dust on the shelves looked undisturbed, like no one had touched anything in years. My stomach churned. I pulled out my phone, my hands shaking, and turned on the flashlight. The beam cut through the dimly lit space. I hesitated, then crept back toward the counter, slowly, carefully. There was an old newspaper lying there, yellow, fragile. I leaned in, my breath catching in my throat as I read the date. November 3rd, 1987. And the headline? Mysterious fire destroys last stop gas. No survivors. I felt dizzy. That wasn't possible. I was standing in the store. It wasn't burned down. I turned and froze. The glass door now reflected something behind me. A figure. Not the man from before. Something else. Something wrong. Its face was stretched, its mouth too wide, and its eyes, they weren't looking at me. They were looking inside me. The lights went out. I couldn't see. The darkness swallowed everything. I spun around, my breath coming in sharp gasps. My phone, I still had my phone. I fumbled with it, my fingers shaking as I tried to turn the flashlight back on. The screen flickered, then static. Not a normal glitch. The screen showed something else, something moving. I squinted, my pulse hammering in my ears. The image was grainy, black and white, like a security camera feed, and it was showing me, standing inside the gas station, the exact position I was in, but I wasn't alone. Behind me, in the grainy feed, a shadow, tall, thin, wrong. I whipped around. Nothing. Just empty space. But when I looked back at my phone, the shadow was closer. I felt something cold curl around my spine. I tried to take a step back, but my body felt heavy, like the air itself was pushing down on me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. My screen glitched again. The feed changed. It showed the outside of the gas station. My car was still there, but something was standing beside it. A figure. Not a shadow this time. Not the man from earlier. Something else. Its face was blurred, like the camera couldn't quite capture it. But I knew it was watching me. Then, a sound, right behind me. Not breathing this time. Not a whisper. A voice. Low. Cracking. And it said my name. You don't belong here. The lights blasted back on. I gasped, stumbling backward. The store was normal again. The shelves. The counter. No shadow. No man. No figure by my car. But I didn't wait. I bolted for the door. This time, it opened. I ran. Jumped into my car, slammed the door, turned the key so fast my fingers nearly slipped. The engine roared to life. I sped out of there, gravel spraying behind me, not looking back. Not until I was miles down the road. Only then did I dare glance in the rearview mirror. The gas station was gone. Not in the distance, not fading away. Just gone, like it had never been there at all. I kept driving, hands gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles went white. My pulse was still hammering, my breath shaky. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I had to get away. The road stretched ahead, empty and dark. No streetlights, no signs, no cars, just endless asphalt and the faint glow of my headlights cutting through the night. I reached for my phone, desperate to check my GPS. To confirm, I was heading in the right direction, but my screen was still glitching. The static was gone, but now, it was just black, like it was on, but refusing to show me anything. I tried pressing the home button, locking it, unlocking it, nothing. My stomach twisted. I tossed the phone onto the passenger seat, trying to steady my breathing. Focus on the road. Just keep going. But then, something changed. The air in the car grew heavy. The temperature dropped. I exhaled, and I could see my breath. I swallowed hard, glancing at the dashboard. The heater was still on. Why was it so cold? Then, a sound, a faint clicking noise. Software. Rhythmic, coming from the back seat. My heart stopped. I knew. I was alone when I got in. I hadn't stopped, hadn't picked anyone up, hadn't even looked in the back seat. Slowly, I adjusted the rearview mirror. The back seat was empty, but the clicking noise was louder, like it was coming from inside my head. Number not clicking, tapping, like fingers, against glass. I glanced at the window. Nothing. I checked the side mirror. The road behind me was black, like my headlights weren't reaching far enough anymore. Like the night itself was swallowing everything up. My fingers tightened around the wheel. Something was wrong. I pressed my foot on the gas. Just needed to get home. Just needed to. Thud. Something slammed against my window. I swerved, nearly losing control of the car. My breath came in short gasps. I didn't want to look. I didn't, but I did. And for a split second, I saw it. A handprint. Smudged against the glass. Long fingered. Too long. The shape of it wasn't right. And the worst part? It was on the inside. I slammed on the brakes. The car skidded to a stop, tires screeching against the asphalt. My chest heaved. My pulse pounded in my ears. The handprint was gone. I whipped around, scanning the back seat, the windows, the mirrors. Nothing. Just me. Just an empty car. But I wasn't stupid. I felt it. Something was here, watching, waiting. I reached for my phone, my hands shaking, and hit the power button again. This time, it worked. The screen blinked on. I exhaled, relief flooding my chest. I tapped on the GPS, ready to check my location. But my heart stopped, because the map was already open. And the route? It wasn't taking me home. It was taking me back. Back to the gas station. Back to the place that shouldn't exist. I didn't set that destination. I knew I didn't. My fingers hovered over the screen, frozen. The estimated arrival time, 4 minutes. I wasn't moving, but the time was still counting down, 3 minutes. I dropped the phone like it burned me, turned the key, pressed the gas. I needed to get away. The car didn't move. My breath caught in my throat. I pressed harder. Nothing. Like the car was stuck. Like something was holding it down. Then, the radio crackled to life. Static. Loud. Too loud. I winced, reaching for the knob to turn it off. But then, a voice. Software broken. You're already here. My blood ran cold. I turned, and in the rearview mirror, something smiled back at me. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. The thing in the mirror. It wasn't me. It had my face, but the eyes, they weren't right. Too dark. Too deep. Like looking into something that wasn't supposed to exist. And that smile. Too wide. Too knowing. My stomach twisted, nausea rising in my throat. I wanted to scream, to run, to do anything, but I was frozen. The voice came again, this time from the radio. Come back inside. The words sent a shiver down my spine. My foot pressed harder on the gas pedal, but the car still wouldn't move. The road ahead was just blackness, like the world outside the car had disappeared, like there was nothing left except me and it. I reached for the door handle, tried to open it. Locked. I tried the other door. Locked. The air in the car got colder. I exhaled, watching my breath fog up the windshield. And then the radio crackled again. Software. Whispering. Look behind you. Number I wasn't going to. I wouldn't. My hands clenched the wheel. My heart pounded against my ribs. I kept my eyes on the windshield, focused on the foggy glass, the darkness beyond it. Look. The voice was closer now, right behind my ear. I squeezed my eyes shut, took a breath, and then the rearview mirror moved. It tilted on its own, angling itself, forcing me to see. And what I saw wasn't human. I couldn't scream, couldn't blink, couldn't do anything except stare. The thing in the mirror, it had my face, but it wasn't me. Its skin was wrong, pale, stretched too tight, like it was barely holding its shape. Its eyes were black, not dark, black, like two empty voids sucking in the light. And its mouth, still smiling, wider now, too wide, like its jaw was unhinging. The voice came again, but this time it was inside my head. Let me in. The words slithered through my skull, cold and thick like oil. I clamped my hands over my ears, squeezing my eyes shut. I wasn't going to listen. I wasn't going to look. I wasn't going to knock. Something tapped against the window. My eyes snapped open. The gas station was back, right outside my car. The neon sign flickered weakly, casting a sickly glow across the lot. The door was open, waiting, and standing just outside was me, not the thing in the mirror, not the shadow from before, just me. Same clothes, same face, but its head was tilted at a strange angle, and its smile, it was the same one from the mirror, the same one that wasn't mine. It lifted a hand and waved. The radio crackled again. The voice was soft, almost kind. Come inside. I reached for the gear shift, desperate to put the car in reverse, but my hand didn't move. I stared down at it, at my own fingers. They were stiff, pale, like they didn't belong to me anymore, like they belonged to it. A slow horror crept up my spine. I looked back at the mirror, the thing inside. It wasn't there anymore, because it was outside now, watching, waiting, and I realized I was inside the mirror.